fine. But I'm just kind of curious, right? So even in the science textbooks, it still refers to evolution as the theory of evolution, right? And the Big Bang is still considered a theory. So what you're doing is those are your beliefs, right? But then also in your thing there, you say beliefs aren't knowledge, right? These are things that you're choosing to believe.
Okay, go ahead and explain to everybody how a scientific theory becomes a scientific theory.
What do you mean? How it becomes a scientific theory?
There's a process mm-hmm. to an idea becoming a theory.
Sure, but it's not proven though. That's why it's still classified as a theory.
Do you know how something becomes a theory? Do you know why gravity is a theory?
It's not a theory.
Yes.
Gravity's a fact.
No, gravity is a theory. It's literally called the theory of gravity.
Yeah, I've never heard that before in my life.
Okay, well, that tells me that you don't really know what theories are then. So a scientific theory only becomes a theory.
Gravity I can observe. Gravity can be observed and tested.
The Big Bang has been observed and tested.
Oh, somebody actually observed the Big Bang.
Yeah, when we look deep into space, we see backwards in time.
Uh-huh.
So there you go. We can see the limit to how far back we can see is 13.77 billion years. And that is our start date for the Big Bang. And that was before we had the technology to see that distant and therefore that far backwards in time. The math was worked out by physicists like Georges Lemaitre, who was a Belgian priest, but also a physicist. And they looked at the rate of expansion in our universe and they calculated backwards because we know it's expanding. So then that means in the past it was in a more dense state. So at what point does it collapse to a singularity? A little over 13.7 billion years. And then our observations matched that perfectly. And then the discovery of the cosmic microwave background radiation showed that very intense initial radiation from about 380,000 years after the Big Bang started, when we had the first matter and light could permeate through the universe for the very first time, had stretched and expanded and cooled, well, not really cooled, but expanded to the microwave end of the spectrum. And it was exactly where we thought it would be. And it's everywhere in the universe that you look. And so it was all confirmed through every single observation that we've made. That's what graduates it to a theory.
Okay. Yeah, I get where you're going. Okay, so evolution, you said evolution is true. Have we observed non-life creating life?
No.
So then how is evolution true?
Does it say? Okay. So we know for a fact that evolution happens because we can observe it happening in the present day. The reason, like the fact that viruses change, I mean, that's evolution right there.
That's mutation.
The fact that antibiotic-resistant bacteria form is evolution.
Mutation.
Yeah,
that's mutation.
Yeah, the mutations are evolution. Evolution means change over time, and evolution by natural selection.
There's a difference between mutation and evolution.
So then you tell me what evolution is, because it's change over time.
No, that's what I'm asking you, because I don't believe in evolution. So I'm asking you how non-life came to life. How did we evolve from non-life to life if evolution is true and it's just scientific fact?
So the theory of evolution doesn't describe how non-life became life.
Mm-hmm.
Evolution describes how populations really change over time. So again, like the fact that we see that antibiotic-resistant bacteria develop, that is literally evolution. You're saying, no, it's a mutation, but those mutations are what produce change, and that change proliferates through the population, changing the genetic makeup of it. That literally is evolution.
Yeah, so I think you're getting mutation and evolution mixed up with each other. They're not the same thing.
I didn't say they were the same thing. I said mutations lead to evolution.
Yeah, so again, I would ask you, how did non-life, so Big Bang Theory, right? Let's say the Big Bang happened. Big Bang happened, everything exploded from an infinitesimal point, like the size of an atom, right? That's what they claim.
Well, that's what we know for a fact because the universe is expanding today, meaning you go backwards through time, so it compressed to a singularity. So it's not what they say; it's what we know is true.
Yeah. You know it's a fact because it was observed. You've seen it. So okay, yeah. I'll just go with that, right? Even though nobody claims to have observed the Big Bang happening from an infinitesimal point, right? Because
Yes.
you can't even observe that far. So when I'm asking, so you believe that we somehow molecules are...
Yeah, there's no other good explanation.
So you believe that we evolved from a wet rock, basically?
That's an extremely stupid way of putting it, and it's way more nuanced than that. So no, that's not what I...
Well, tell me the intelligent way to put it.
Okay, you're made of nothing except atoms and molecules, right?
Okay.
I mean, that's true, right?
Yeah.
And every single thing that powers and allows a living thing to exist is the result of chemical reactions, right? Sure. So a chemical reaction is not life, but a series of chemical reactions that occur in a self-enclosed system capable of replication, that is life. Now, nobody saw this happen. We don't know where it happened.
Yeah, but you're talking about replicating life, not how life from non-life came to be. So how did non-life turn into life?
Well, nobody knows that exactly, but we know that...
Exactly. So evolution isn't true. It's not fact. It's fiction. It's a belief.
Is it fiction or is it a belief?
I'm a Baptist and I believe in God, right? Because that's my faith. It takes more faith to believe that we evolved from a wet rock than from intelligent design.
So you purposely state that in a very stupid way to make your position sound better. That's an extremely dishonest way to argue a position. Do you think that the biblical account of where the first man came from is literally true?
Yes.
So you think that Adam was formed from a wet rock because he was formed from clay. So essentially what you're mocking me for is exactly what you believe in. You just believe that there was some superstitious magic that was tossed in there to allow it to happen. Whereas I believe the atoms and chemicals that make us up and the chemical reactions that power life could have assembled themselves in a way very gradually over time and built complexity and eventually came into a self-enclosed replicating system, because that is consistent with, that doesn't require the suspension of everything we know is true about the laws of nature. Yours does.
But except the difference between me and you, though, is when it comes to how Adam was created, I take that on faith, and I admit that it's a religion. You don't.
I admit that what you believe is a religion.
But you don't admit what you believe is a religion.
It's not. There's no bureaucracy with God in this.
You don't have to have a bureaucracy with God.
Well, that's what a religion is.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is what you believe takes more faith than what I believe. At least I believe in an intelligent designer. You believe that there is no intelligent designer and it just happened.
Right. So I don't know. I assume that you were just born from two parents. Now, it could be that you were implanted here by aliens. Now, which one of those is most likely?
What are my two options? Aliens or what?
Either you were just born from two regular people here on Earth, or you were implanted here by magic teleporting space and time-traveling aliens. Which one of those is more likely?
Well, I know that I was born by two people on Earth.
So yeah, but I don't. So which one should I go with?
Go with aliens, man.
Well, okay. Well, the actual answer is it's more likely to go with the first one. So again, and evolution is not the same as abiogenesis, but abiogenesis it's consistent with everything we observe in nature. As I said again, we are made of atoms and molecules. Life is a series of chemical reactions, all that. All it requires are the ingredients and the chemistry that we see and observe here on Earth. Now, it doesn't mean that it wasn't miraculous in a sense and that it wasn't sort of a one-off crazy thing. But it doesn't require me to pull some sort of extra causal agent which is literally superstitious in nature to say, yeah, that's how it happened. We are physical things. We are literally made of the most common reactive elements that you find in the universe. 96% of your body is hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon. Those are the most common elements on the surface of Earth that are chemically reactive. It's very parsimonious, and it follows Occam's razor, as crazy as it sounds. So, I mean, there we go. You know, gravity could be caused by magic wizards that live outside of space and time. And you're welcome to believe that, or we can just go with, you know, what we observe here in our universe, and we don't have to rely on superstitious causal agents for it. No, it does not take a greater leap of faith to believe what I believe in, because my beliefs don't require superstitious intervention.
Yeah, so your beliefs don't require an intelligent designer. What I'm saying is it's more rational to believe in an intelligent designer than to believe that non-life just came into existence.
No, it isn't.
From nothing.
How is it rational to pull on superstitious outside of space and time influences when there's absolutely no reason to think that those even exist? You just claim that life is a miracle and there can be no other explanation, and then you say, therefore, that makes it more likely. I mean, a very long time ago, it seems like you would have been arguing a very long time ago. What do you mean Thor doesn't exist? How do you explain lightning then? It can't just simply come from nowhere.
But what I'm saying, though, is you're claiming that non-life just somehow, like a wet rock or a soup, somehow formed intelligent life.
No, God, no. Do you think that a bacteria is intelligent?
We're intelligent people. We're capable of thinking. We have labs.
Okay. I have to interrupt you here.
We can't replicate something that happens spontaneously. We can't replicate that. We can't create life from non-life.
Dude, okay, when you said that non-life created intelligent life, you made an enormous leap that no scientist makes that claim. You are basically saying that the wet rock produced a human being. No. Do you think a bacteria is intelligent?
No, that's what you're saying. What you're saying. That's not what I'm saying.
No, I'm not. Scientists don't think.
You are.
No, human beings come from other human beings, come from other human beings, come from other primates. Okay, the first life on Earth would not have been multicellular. It would not have been eukaryotic. It may have actually just been something very, very close to a virus. The first approximation of life was probably just self-replicating molecules like RNA.
Okay, so where did the first DNA? Okay, so how did the first DNA strand come into existence?
Through a series of chemical reactions, almost certainly in the water here on Earth.
Yeah, see, that's a huge leap of faith. You have to use a huge leap of faith to come to that conclusion because it's never been observed, so it's not scientific fact.
Okay,
that's an
how did God create Adam?
But that's an intelligent designer creating Adam.
How did he do it?
He created us.
How did he do it? How?
Are you asking what we were created from? Dust.
How? How did he do it?
Yeah, I don't understand the infinite God, so I don't understand all of his powers, how he's able to do things.
Okay, well, in science, we don't throw up our hands and give up. We keep searching for answers and mechanisms to explain the natural world. So, I mean, we know that random inorganic chemical processes can create the molecules of life, amino acids, and things like that. Yes, we do, because we've done it in laboratories. It's been done many times. There's the Miller-Urey experiment.
Life has never been created.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said molecules associated with life, such as amino acids and all of that. Go get me a picture of God.
That's okay. Give me a picture of non-life creating life.
Yes.
Doesn't make
So
any sense.
we are at an equivalence here. So don't talk down my position and say that yours is better than mine.
But no, we're not at an equivalence because I'm admitting that what I believe is by faith.
Okay.
It's a religion. You're not admitting that what you believe is a religion.
It's
your
certainly
faith.
not a religion.
It's not fact.
It's the closest thing we can possibly get to facts because it's consistent with the natural world in which we live in. Again, it would be very stupid of me to claim that you were implanted here, fully formed by time-traveling space aliens, right? And if I based a belief system on this, if I made you my prophet and all of that, it wouldn't be equally as rational to be like, well, look, the people that believe that Chris here was, formed that way, they're not more wrong than the people that think, well, no, he just had parents, right? That would be completely ridiculous to think. It would be a bad idea because it requires all of these extreme exceptions to what we know is logically plausible. It fails Occam's razor. It fails. It's not a parsimonious argument. It fails Bayesian reasoning, all that stuff.
Yeah, but your argument also fails on reasoning because
oh my God, no, it doesn't.
You're saying that life was created from non-life. It doesn't make any sense. That's a leap of faith right there.
For crying out loud.
Understand? That is a religion.
Your body literally does this, right? Your body takes in non-living, random atoms and molecules and assembles them into the living cells that make up you.
Sure. My body is life, though. That's life creating life.
Right. Well, it's chemical reactions leading to life. Your entire body, your entire system of life is just a series of chemical reactions. In fact, this thing we call life is just it's a total bias that we have because we're the living, thinking, breathing creatures. There's really no exceptional difference between life and all other chemistry. They're just chemical reactions. Now, they happen to allow this crazy, wonderful thing we call life to exist, but it's also what's responsible for creating thermonuclear reactions in the core of a sun, which create all the elements of the periodic table. That's pretty damn fascinating. It's not life, but...
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm saying I'm focusing on just the life aspect because you say evolution is true, and so the very beginning of the evolutionary process, it would have to be non-life creating life, right? If we came from an explosion,
so it's not like a snap of the finger type of thing. Do you think that a unicellular organism is conscious, for example?
Yeah, but that's still life.
Well, no. Come on. Do you think a unicellular organism is conscious?
But it's irrelevant whether it's conscious because you're.
No, it's not. I'm trying to make a point here, but you're not letting me.
Do you think a rock is conscious?
Do you think a unicellular organism is conscious?
Do you think a rock is conscious? That's what I'm saying. Like, where are you getting from the wet rock to consciousness? That's the leap that I'm trying to get you to explain to me.
Dude, can you just work with me on this? This is like, I'm trying to be constructive here. Okay, well, I'm just gonna say this because you won't do it. So
you're straw manning and avoiding the question.
I asked you the question, and then you are refusing to. No, you didn't. I said, is a unicellular organism conscious? And you refused to answer it. So I'm just going to talk to the audience here. A unicellular organism is not conscious. Nobody would think that it is. At one point, you were unicellular. A sperm fertilized an egg, right? Now, you were not conscious as a zygote. When did you become conscious? It wasn't after the first cell division or the 100th cell division, but it did happen at some point. At some point, you became conscious, right?
Yeah, I believe
so this
that
whole
point
thing.
was when God created us.
So you do think. So then you think like a sperm is conscious.
When God created man, He created him as a conscious being.
So then do you think a fertilized egg is conscious? It knows it exists and all that stuff?
I mean, no, I don't think a baby is even aware.
Right. So we agree on this. I'm not trying to get you. I'm literally just saying.
I don't think that you are. I think that argument's a little ridiculous. Like, does a sperm think he's conscious? Like, is a sperm aware of his consciousness on the way to the egg?
Right. So a non-conscious living entity can develop consciousness, right? So non-living a system of chemical reactions working together that we don't consider life can gradually form into a system that does become life. Chemistry is just chemistry.
Yeah, but you're talking about something that develops consciousness, like that develops. This is life developing consciousness, not non-life developing consciousness.
Yes, it was a metaphor. Metaphors are never ever perfect.
Doesn't make any sense because you're going off the premises of life first and then consciousness coming second.
No, I was going from the premise of non-consciousness to consciousness to explain how non-life to life can be parsimonious and can make sense in light of what we know about chemical systems and all of that stuff.
But what you're saying is it's life from the gate. Your analogy that you're using from sperm to us, right? Growing up, that's always life. What I'm saying is, where are you getting the leap from non-life to life? That's the gap in your belief of evolution. Is that non-life created life?
Non-life gradually became life. It didn't flip and then a unicellular, like if you really talk to somebody that knows this stuff, they don't think that one day all of a sudden somehow a unicellular bacteria with a genome in the millions of base pairs spontaneously formed. They don't believe that. It would have been so gradual that there would have been no point that the switch just flipped on and it's like, this is definitely not alive, this is definitely alive. That's how consciousness works too. The way your consciousness develops is so gradual.
You're either alive or you're not.
What?
You're either alive or you're not. There's no gradually become life. You're either life or you're not life. There's no gradually becoming life.
Yes, there is. You're not either conscious or unconscious.
It's never been observed.
Okay, that was a total non sequitur. Again, we can go to the consciousness argument. Your consciousness doesn't just flip on at one point during your fetal development. It is so gradual that we never say it actually just flips on all of a sudden.
But when you go to the fetal development, you're talking about life gaining consciousness and becoming self-aware, right? This is life to life. What I'm saying is you think that non-life gradually became life. That's different. That's completely different.
No,
becoming aware.
It's not. You're not getting the connection here. I'm talking about you can go from non-conscious to conscious without ever at one exact point the consciousness just flipping on. I'm pretty sure that if you thought about it, you would totally agree with that point. And we can get from a non-living chemical system to a living chemical system gradually with no definitive point where we say, boom, it flipped on right then and there. That's all I'm saying. So I have another thing that we can talk about with this. So Dalmatians, right? Dalmatians, they exist.
Yeah. Hey, just go ahead and bring it. Go ahead and bring in the next guy waiting, man. Because
see ya.
I was trying to press you on the non-life to life, and you're kind of dodging that.
No, I never once dodged it. Never once. You're the one that refused to answer questions and then just turned around and asked other questions.
You said evolution is true, and I'm asking you how non-life got to life, that stage. And you say, it's like some chemical accident that eventually evolved into life. Non-life eventually evolved into life. You're either life or you're not life. There's no you gradually. Where do you get that from?
The same way we can say you are not just conscious, not conscious, or conscious. There's this extreme gradual buildup to that, and we can apply the same logic to chemical systems that sustain life.
Again, that's life gaining consciousness.
We're
not
talking about
life turning into life.
unconscious to conscious. We're not talking. You keep mixing in life in there and completely not getting the point. I'm going to go to the next guest. Have a good day.